Hello, beautiful beings. Thank you so very much for dropping by this channel. To anyone who's new, this channel is about understanding the difference between traditional non-duality and modernized, watered-down, commercial nonsense non-duality, often called Neo-Advaita. You can find more out about this topic on my website, which is listed below this video and in the chat box. It's still the Christmas season. Merry Christmas to those who honor and celebrate that. So I received a letter from an old friend of mine who actually I met. We were part of the same Neo-Advaita temple. And he went pretty far down the Neo-Advaita rabbit hole and hasn't necessarily found his way out. And it was very intense because it brings back a lot of memories. But also really highlights a lot of the things about the journey of recovering from Neo-Advaita. So I'm going to read some of it. So he's talking about how he wants to connect with Christ, and he sometimes wonders if Christ himself is even real. He said, in essence, that he's questioning everything right now, doesn't know what's real anymore. And interestingly enough, he said the only place that feels like home is Ramana. He says that he doesn't really trust his thoughts or feelings or perceptions, or even relying on experience to tell him what's real. In essence, he doesn't really trust anything that's happening in the body, the mind, the heart. He talked about how Ramana mentions that self-realization is not an experience and not those blissful, ecstatic things, that's not self-realization. And that's actually just another phenomenon. And to not get too attached to it. He points out that it's his view that suffering comes from trying to control how the mind and body feel, and that trying to tame the mind is like trying to tame a cobra or an elephant trunk. That's funny. He points out that samadhi experiences are only temporary, that they don't actually sort of, in essence, fix the problem. He says his main approach to life would be Advaita with other rasas. Rasa means like flavor or taste, like devotional experiences. So there's a lot here, and there's a lot that's really speaks to the Neo-Advaita recovery journey. So once again, I am not I'm not a guru. I don't teach non-duality. What I teach is how to recover from fake non-duality. So with that said, I just don't know what's real anymore. Heard, understood. That's the place I got to. And just not knowing what was up, what was down. I think, I was going to kind of go through his letter point by point, but I think instead I'm just going to respond from my heart, which is, I really feel you. I really feel, I relate to everything that this person said. And Vedic philosophy, as does Buddhism, talks about illusion or delusion being the problem. But they oftentimes, if you just read the book, like, you don't quite catch the flavor of the fact that illusion or delusion is so sly and slick. I think a little bit is lost in translation and lost in culture, just how cunning, baffling, and powerful these forces are. And very specifically, a traditional Vedic Swami, not an Advaita, but a Chinta Beta Beta Swami, which is related yet also very different, pointed out, and that you cannot overcome the power of illusion on your own power, because the power of illusion is actually, in Vedic philosophy, it's part of God. So it's like not God, but Bhagavan, which is related to God but different. And so it's just understood in Vedic philosophy, you can't overcome it on your own. You need grace, you need guru, and yes, you need to make effort, but fundamentally, trying to overcome it on your own is trying to basically overcome infinite, limitless power on your own. And it's like, good luck with that. I sure tried, and it just took me deeper and deeper and deeper. This person said that, he feels at home with Ramana and feels like his path is Advaita. I felt that way for a long time. And as many of you know, I've chosen not to pursue Advaita, but I did for a while, traditional Advaita. But what I want to say, both to this person and anyone, is thinking about, reading, or practicing anything about Advaita Vedanta, not anything, but the more advanced practices, the more advanced philosophy, the more advanced meditation on your own is Neo-Advaita. Like, it's just not possible to do it on your own. And it just dug me deeper and deeper and deeper into the rabbit hole, trying to figure it out on my own. I love Ramana Maharshi, and his books are terrible to read. They are utterly terrible to read because he didn't write them. Other people wrote them and arranged them. So he's not a systematic teacher. He doesn't take you. See, like traditional Advaita is like a step-by-step process. And it's like you can't go to the next step until the previous step is there. It's like literally going up stairs. Like, you can't go up the third step until you've gone up the second step. And without that second step, like, you're just going to fall. And so trying to read Ramana Maharshi and study and practice and think, oh, this is non-duality, like this is Advaita, it like is and it isn't. Doing it on your own is Neo-Advaita. It's a disaster. I speak from experience. And then, I've studied again with traditional Advaita teachers, and I've studied some more traditional systematic text and books. And it's like they just take you like one step at a time. And I've recommended many times James Schwartz's book, The Essence of Enlightenment, it gives you the full spectrum of what traditional Advaita looks like. Hey, Dhamma, I'll get to you in a minute. So to this person or anyone, I love Ramana Maharshi, and his writings kind of drove me crazy because, and also Ramana contradicts himself, sort of, not really, sort of, because he gives different answers to different people. He will straight up tell one person one thing, and then he'll tell someone else the opposite, because he met people where they were. This is my view. He met people where they were, and he gave them the medicine that they need. So it's like reading Ramana is like taking someone else's prescription, like it doesn't work well. And it's hard because there's so much wisdom and so much goodness in Ramana's writings. And again, that's the thing. It's not Ramana's writings. It's always arranged by somebody else. And that's where it gets problematic. So, in my journey of moving from Neo-Advaita to Advaita, and then of course, as I shared, then I've discontinued. Advaita is not my path. I had to stop all of it. I had to stop reading Ramana. I had to stop listening to YouTube videos about non-duality. I had to stop practicing self-inquiry. I had to stop because basically I was trying to be my own guru and I was destroying myself. As Ramana said, it's like the thief. It's like asking the thief to arrest themselves. Trying to be your own guru is like trying to have the thief arrest himself. It doesn't work. That's why you need an actual guru. So Let's see. Dhamma, good to get you again. I think what resonates most about your videos and direction is that you want to be life affirming, something that celebrates the here and now. Thank you, Dhamma. Yeah, interestingly enough, traditional Advaita, I mean, there are many different schools of traditional Advaita, but many of them, I'll say some of them, actually are life affirming, because most traditional Advaita teaches bhakti and dharma, teaches bhakti, devotion to the source of all that is, dharma, how to live your life. Like, let me put it this way, unless you become a monk, traditional Advaita will teach you how to how to have a devotional attitude, how to literally be grateful for life, and how to serve life. This is like traditional Advaita 101. It's actually kind of traditional spirituality 101. And without it, Neo-Advaita just creates an absolute shit show. It did for me, did for my friend, it did for many people I've met. So thank you for saying that. It's interesting, even though I'm not pursuing traditional Advaita anymore, I have taken some components from it, such as this cultivating an attitude of gratitude for my very existence, cultivating devotion, and cultivating the sense of I'm here to participate in life and serve. So, kind of what I did is, I studied traditional Advaita, and then I left most of it, but I still value and practice the fundamental, the foundational pieces. Because in traditional Advaita, you lay a foundation before the advanced meditation and the advanced philosophical investigation. So, one traditional Advaita Swamini I studied with, she taught us a traditional Advaita meditation. She did it with us, and then she said, don't do this on your own at home. She wanted to give us a taste and also be there to answer questions, but she was quite clear that this was not something we should just practice on our own. So that's, it's just so different. It's just so different. And thank you so much, Dhamma. Yeah, I kind of where I've come to is I'm not a monk. And Neo-Advaita it like forces you into monk mode if you take it seriously, because it teaches full renunciation, and it teaches full renunciation in a harmful manner. So I've gotten very clear that I'm not a monk, but I've also gotten clear that I'm not a monk. Like I've suffered so much, and I've had so many mystical experiences that I'm probably never gonna live, I'm never gonna be satisfied with people, places, and things, with you could say worldly life. But I'm not a monk, so like I need some healthy hobbies and engagement with the world and following my passion. So I'm really trying to find a middle way of that's where my journey down Neo-Advaita left me, is like, yeah, I'm not a monk, but after all this suffering and all this mystical experiences, like I'm not cut out to just like seek happiness in the world. I'm learning more and more how to participate in the world. And as I've shared, rebuilding relationships and doing volunteer work. But yeah, so that's, thank you so much, Dhamma, for saying that. The thing is, I'm a very passionate person. And I think a lot of us that are drawn to Neo-Advaita are very passionate people, creative people even, and we just suffered a lot, and we were looking for release from suffering. And so now I'm trying to find ways that my creative interests and my passions can be of service, because that's traditional Advaita 101. Live a life of service. Do your dharma, which service also means like participating in your family in a harmonious way, like being a good neighbor, so it's not just being of service, it's doing your dharma. Like each of us has relationships, work, obligations. We're all part of a larger system. And the notion of dharma in Vedic philosophy is about being a harmonious participant of that system, not in a way that like suppresses your desires and your individuality, but integrates your desires and your passions into the fact that you're part of a whole, into your relationships, into everything. So thank you. Let's see what Dhamma also said. I hear you. For me, good spirituality needs to start with helping me to live better, value myself and others more fully, and yes, enjoy life. That's Traditional Advaita 101. Become a balanced, healthy, positive person that's contributing. That's not just contributing, that knows how to participate harmoniously. Beautifully said. So I'm going to pause here. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining in, and truly grateful. And thank you for the comments, Dhamma in the North. Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good day of recovery and healing from Neo-Advaita and Spiritual Bypass. Big love.